Once again, the What It Takes Radio Company, and we have a special program right now. We're just simply going to talk about being on the air. Yes, it's a radio program. And today, let me ask you this question. After the election in the United States, well, now what do you do? And let me ask you, would you like to be brave now? Well, maybe let's shoot some arrows into the air. Now, what in the world could that be about? Well, greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen, friends, listeners, people who care and who make a difference and take some time to listen to me occasionally. And for that, I'm profoundly grateful. Well, here it is. It is Wednesday, the day after the election, and it was quite for some people, obviously, it was catastrophic. For obviously the other half of the American population, it was a time of incredible celebration. I don't think anybody could have predicted in any way just exactly what happened. Certainly, the people who were for Kamala had no idea that such a reality could take place. And I would also say that the people who supported Donald Trump probably couldn't believe that such a reality could also take place. But it is seemingly the new reality, and then both sides are going to have to figure out what I talked about before, and that is, okay, what do we do now? And of course, that's the same question that you and I have. I really encourage us, there will be a number of changes in the way that the United States government functions and does its work. And for those who are citizens of America, and obviously those who are citizens of the world in some sense, you may have to make some adjustments to your point of view, or perhaps to your career, maybe certainly to your business. And those of you on the other side, you're going to have to decide, what are you going to do now? In terms of your disappointment, maybe your almost a little bit of depression, and a sense of disaster. What are you going to do now? So that's what this little conversation might be all about. And hopefully it's a little bit fun. First of all, yeah, I'm having fun. There's a story behind that. Yes, that is a sketch of me that I found going through all of my stuff that I'd forgotten all about. And here's the story behind it. And there was a good point there. I was working with a woman who was very, very talented and had a large responsibility in a major organization. And she enjoyed working with me. And one of the things I had suggested to her, because her work was very, very intense. I mean, it really was. She had a number of responsibilities. And she also had 2 children that were still in school age. And her husband, good man, but his job required him to travel quite a bit. And so she was left with a big responsible job. She was left with 2 children. And oftentimes, to go to her job, she had to find, care for her children. So, yeah, a really complicated life she had, but she was good. She was good. A woman of a strength and spirit, and she was moxie. She had it. And she said, "What should I do?" And I said, "I need to relearn how to relax." And I said, "I'm not very good at teaching people how to do that, because that's my own issue." And then I noticed that as she was doing this, she was kind of doodling with a piece of paper. And I said, What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, sometimes the way I relax, I just kind of doodle." And I said, "Well, I looked down at what she was doing. I said, that's kind of good." "Yeah, oh, yeah." And I said, "Well, why don't you do more of that? Why don't you start, doing pencil drawings of things, um, and particularly maybe for your friends?" So, okay, be an illustrator, be an artist. Um, and she looked at me and said, "I don't know." 2 weeks later, during our session, she gave me this. And I said, "Wow." She said, "Well, I took your advice, and I I had this picture of you, in my mind. I see you a lot, but there was also a picture when you gave a presentation at our board meeting." And she said, "So I actually sat down and started doodling, and so I came up with this sketch of you." I said, "Well, I really like that." And she said, "You do?" I said, "I do." And she said, "Well, you can have it." And so be it. She pressed on, very successful, very, and she made it happen in her life. And one of my success stories, but it's not my story. It's her story. And so I'll just let it go at that. But I just simply point out to you, this may be the time, you know, as you know, I've really suggested that my new year kind of begins with the Rosh Hashanah, the tradition of Yom Kippur, the Jewish tradition. In October, we begin the year, so we get a head start on the rest of the people who wait till January. And I'm there, but here we are now. There's going to be a lot of changes in 25. So it's going to be a new year in many respects. And so, what do you want to do differently? And in my program the other day, I asked you to think about some of those things. Who are you? What are you going to do now? So I would suggest that that would be something that you would think about. Maybe you should become an artist, or if you're like me, you will learn how to make a pen. Yes, I made a pen, and it was from old stuff from a countertop or a kitchen countertop. And I got the pieces of it and made a pen because I like to write beautifully. And it's always fun to have kind of a signature pen. By the way, an interesting point out is I was dealing with my friend Kevin, and we're talking about how to do things once you have done some kind of work in art. And I said, the proverbial sign it. And then he pointed out to me, he said, "Well, actually, if you're a creator, you should have two things." I said, "Okay, give me an idea. What do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, first of all, you have a legal signature that you need, to sign things." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "But actually, an artist doesn't just have a signature; they have an autograph." And he said, "When you go to somebody who is somewhat of a celebrity, or they've written a book, you don't say, sign it. You simply say, may I have your autograph? Something like that." And so one of the things that's kind of fun is to decide what is your signature, and then if you do have a work of art, when you write your book, remember I told you Donald Trump was incredibly successful because he wrote his first book before he was 40. Yeah, when he's 39, The Art of the Deal. And that got him his initial publicity. Goes all the way back. He's 78 now. Well, it was, half a lifetime ago he started on the trail that what he is doing right now. So just think about that. Have some fun with that, and see where that leads you in the coming year. Now, I want to show you one of my favorite pictures because I think this is a picture. So, okay, here we go. I want to show you, and I'll tell you more about him later. But here is one of my favorite paintings, which he passed on to me. Now, what did you get that? He's a Western artist, and very, very, very good and very eccentric. I mean, this guy, uh, when we did a radio interview him, when we saw some, we described some of his paintings, the three of us were just sitting there saying, "Oh my goodness, this man is a genius. This man is crazy. This man is wild. This man is wonderful." And this was one of his paintings. Now, here's the story behind that painting. Based on an old Indian tradition, which was kind of remember that when a young warrior to be And remember, in the native cultures, tribal warfare was very, very common. There was not much of this noble savage kind of thing. The tribes were at war. And so the young men had to be initiated. And oftentimes that was where the vision quest went out, as they literally had to go out and do something that was quite dangerous. Maybe even where their life was in danger, and some of them would die. But that was how a young man was initiated. A young boy, now becoming a young man, was initiated into the fellowship of the providers and protectors. Provide. That's what the men were to do: provide and protect their women, their wives, and their children. That was the deal. And they all knew that. And so supposedly one of the exercises they often did was that part of this was to stand straight and tall and then shoot an arrow into the air, and no cheating, no bending, shoot it as straight up as possible. And then stand there. Don't move. Be brave. Wow. That's a new form of possible roulette, isn't it? And I don't know any more of the story than that. I would imagine that the odds of it coming right down on top of their head were pretty slim, but they weren't impossible. And maybe hitting them on the shoulder or something like that could be more possible. But the chances are that they would be okay. But in the meantime, they had demonstrated their courage, and that they were now ready to move ahead. Part of what we're trying to have people become in life. I wish I could be better at it, but in chapter 1 of my first book, the chapter which is still strikes me is, remember, fear kills everything. Fear kills everything, and it does. Over 800 times in Holy Scripture, the Hebrew or the Christian scriptures say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't fret. Don't be afraid. Fear not. And overcoming fear is one of the most significant things you can do. I actually have to tell you that part of Trump, a success is, in many ways, the man is quite fearless. I mean, he's gone through so much stuff. I have met other men and women like that who, and I'm not one, but I have met people who are fearless. Right? They aren't afraid of death. They aren't afraid of dying. They aren't afraid of going broke. They aren't afraid of rejection. All of the things that we fear, they were not afraid of. And that's how some of them lived remarkable lives. Just a thought. So first of all, go out and see if you can find some sketch work or artistic work to do. And then perhaps think about maybe how you would live a life of shooting some arrows in the air. And take a significant risk. Something that could be very fearful, but you do it anyhow. Get back on the saddle. You fall off the horse, get back on. Get up. Don't be afraid. I'm done for the day. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best and blessings. I believe I can help you. We're going to talk about the thing that has really changed a little bit is, again, the podcast phenomenon proved itself to be very, very powerful in the election. And we'll talk about that some other time. Reach out to me, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. And let's see if we can work together on some of the projects that will be significant to you, your life, and your business. Peace. Don't be afraid. Fret not. Till next time, I'm Stan. Bye for now.